So it was really difficult because I'm kind of a introverted person. And you ask me a question and I'll say it, but like I'm not gonna go out.
Yeah, I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly. I'm making his dog like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans.
Welcome to another episode of the Married Game Podcast. We are the voice you trust when it comes to lust. We are who you hire when she lacks desire. And if you are stuck, we're going to help you fuck.
Oh.
Jesse, Joy, and Keith Yackey in the house. Married Game Podcast. I got a new closing tagline that I'll teach you here.
Right now?
We are the couple. We are here to help you get and stay well fucked. Isn't that what men and women want to be? Just well fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Sometimes you throw me off.
I know, right? I love it. I'm excited. You, first of all, you look smashing. You're like an 80s goddess right now.
There, that's your favorite.
You're an 80s goddess. It is.
Yeah.
That's the era I grew up where I first got pubic hair and I first started to get boners.
It's when you first started looking at women.
Yeah.
This is what you were looking at.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have a really fun time today because we're going to turn this episode into tell us more about Jesse Joy.
Ooh, that makes me nervous.
I know. I love it because when we talk about our relationship and how we met each other and the things and the evolutions that we've gone through, I was telling one of my friends, Derek, the other day, and I said, I was really dropping the ball on my partner dial back in December. Mm-hmm. And Jessie, being the good wife that she is, really let me know. And
yes, I did.
He goes, dude, you're so lucky to have a woman that's willing to tell you the truth and fight for what this really is. And I said, yeah, I am. Mm. I'm really lucky, really blessed to have you as my wife, my life partner, my best friend. And yet they hear a lot about my stories and my early childhood and my ideas and all this blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I don't have this relationship unless I'm with you. Mm-hmm. And you are the most unique. I had sex with hundreds of women hoping to meet someone like you. And then I fucked all that up and you came back. Mm-hmm. And here we are. So I know you so well.
Yeah.
I truly do look at you as like my best friend. Mm-hmm. I would rather do anything with you than anybody else. And yet you have this whole story. You have this kind of a wild story, actually, in the sense of you grew up with an 80 rocker's dad. Mm-hmm. They left an example for you. You've moved during your life. You've had some philosophies and ideas about life. And I want to kind of break into some of those. So you ready to go down this rabbit hole a little bit?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Makes me nervous to just have the whole focus on me.
Yeah.
But excited.
Yeah, well, you deserve it. You're amazing.
Oh,
and you're
you.
awesome. And without you, my marriage would be really lame. So welcome to Married Game.
So.
Okay, so who is Jesse? If we were to just to say start off, who are you? How would you best describe yourself?
That's such a vague question.
I know, but I want to hear how you would describe it because I've got very specific questions here about growing up with the rocker dad and all this. But who are you?
I am fun and exciting, and I'm loyal, and I am.
I can't stop looking at your tits. Stop. You buttoned them down too low. Go ahead. Keep going.
I think I'm a free and open thinker, and I think that I'm a great mom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're a great wife.
Thank you.
You're a great friend. I've been sick the last couple of days, and you've been so good to take care of me. I love when you do that. Okay, so you grew up with a dad who went on tour with Motley Crue. He was an 80s rocker, best guitarist I've ever seen. It was a pretty wild environment. Explain that a little bit to us.
We always had how early do I start? There's a lot of things I don't remember that I got told that, we struggled a lot along the way. My parents met in high school. They had my sister at 19. Then they had me 5 years later. And then they had my brother 5 years later. But in between, they struggled a lot. And, my dad went on tour, so my mom stayed home with the kids.
Financially, is that what you meant by struggle?
Yeah, struggled, definitely. So I guess there was even one point I was like 7. They said I lived in a van with my whole family for like a week or 2, which I have no recollection of like all those times.
That's what poor people call camping, right?
I guess so. So I know we struggled, but I never felt like I struggled that bad. I never felt the sting of that. There was always Christmas. There was always a birthday. There was always parties at our house. We always had a backyard, a little stage, always had the band over. They had their kids just running around crazy. So, the best time in my childhood was in junior high for me, because my dad was making more money. He was more stable. He had actually like a job working at Samick, like fixing guitars. And then he played on the weekends. My mom was a manager of like Caro's or something. And we had more stability around that time. That's a lot of time I remember where a lot of growth happened for me. My parents were really well. They were always like best friends. They always snuck away from the kids, trying to go on a date, be in the hot tub outside, so that was my best time, I feel like, of my childhood.
Is that why, like, you and I doing so many things together and kind of like you prioritize us over pretty much anything else? Did you learn that?
That is the reason.
That is.
Absolutely. I would even like tell my mom, like, hey, like, what about the kids? And she's like, no. Like, your dad and I are going to go on a walk. No. We're going on a date. They were always like best friends and had that relationship.
Almost like protective over their personal time together.
Absolutely.
You're the same way.
Absolutely.
Is this also where, okay, so all my guy friends, even my girlfriends, but like all my guy friends, or my friends that are girls, everybody loves you. Like I haven't met anybody that doesn't like you. Like genuinely doesn't like you.
I don't think so. Not when they get to know me, right?
Yeah, but you're always the fun person. And I thought I was that guy, and then I met you, and I was like, damn, dude, you're a lot of fun. Was it growing up with parties and growing up and just, like, where did this fun attitude and energy come from?
Yeah, I guess.
Because it seems effortless from you.
It is. We talk about how we like to have fun, like fun is a fountainhead. Like, that is my number one priority, is for us to have fun in life. We're like, what the fuck are we doing, And I saw my parents always having fun. Yes, they struggled and they worked a lot, but we were always having fun. Like, I just even remember we like family bike ride, like on a Wednesday. Like, it was fun.
Bike ride?
Yeah, bike ride.
Just go on a bike.
Yeah, we always did a family bike ride.
I love that.
It was so cute.
What inspired your love for music? Because like you are a music lyric knowing mofo. I've never met anybody who knows this. I never met anybody that knows as many lyrics and songs and genres as you.
Obviously, it's my dad, being what he does for a living, plays guitar for a living. But my mom also, they met in guitar class in high school. So my mom has a love for music too. My mom's side of the family dabbled in acting and music as well. And it's from both of them. The love for music, and we always had music going on, even to do like weekend chores. This is all so 90s. They on Sunday they'd start blasting music really early in the morning, like, everybody do your chores. So
it's like to
we
get
always
you
had
guys
music.
in the mood.
Yeah.
like Annie, get to work, let's go.
Poor people, we all gotta chip in.
I love it, man. I love it. Now you're so fun. And you get along really well with dudes. Like all my best friends are like, oh man, bring Jesse. Like Jesse's fun. And it's not just because they're all married, so it's not like they're like, they just think you're a lot of fun. Why have you always got along with guys so well?
I don't know. Well, I guess I've had a couple of theories on this one. I had a hard time in high school with women, girls, my peers, girls. I got in a lot of fights, and
like fights?
Yeah, physical fights.
Fist fights.
Yeah, I even had this one girl like walk me. Like, I went to the restroom during class, and she followed me out and then tried to fight me, and we did fight, and it was this whole thing. But a lot of girls just didn't like me, and I think it's before they got to know me. I think, for a lot of insecurity reasons at the time in high school for girls.
Because all the guys liked you?
I was, like you said, I was always like one of the guys. I was always hanging out with the guys.
Except you had tits and you were beautiful.
I guess so.
What do you mean you guess so? You definitely had tits. And you're more beautiful than any guy I've ever met.
So I more gravitate to the men that were just easier to hang around with than girls always kind of had this, you know, fighting thing. And probably before that, I got along with my dad's friends. I was always around them even as a kid. And then I did some spokesmodeling, so I had to, you know, you have to talk to men, and mostly men because I'm a woman. So it just became easier to do. So I mean, I guess that's why. And I hung out, like, my parents are young for having kids. So, and even still, I hang out with like their age sometimes or in between, and you're a little bit older. And then, so I just have this wide range of hanging out with, well, older people when I was younger. So
did you find the conversation with men to be more interesting than with women sometimes? Because like you and I, we talk about sex, we talk about a lot of like guy, quote unquote guy talks, even though, dude, you sit around any group of ladies and they're always talking about sex and always talking about that stuff, but you seem to thrive in guy conversation. What's up with that?
I think the banter is more fun. I like how more honest men can be. They just flat out say something and you're like, okay. So I like people who are real and honest. And I think men tend to be more that way.
You had a lot of, what kind of guys did you grow up dating? That's leading me up to my next question, which I'm excited about. But I want to, what dudes? I know you dated some buff dudes. You dated,
well, before even, just like a whole wide range. It's not that I have a specific type. My type is smart. So if a guy's smart, and I've always, even like in high school and then my whole dating time, it's a smart guy that I like. So I've dated all different kinds and types. As I got older, I like more fit dudes, more outgoing dudes. Just a whole wide range, I guess.
What was your favorite boyfriend growing up?
In what era?
Oh, got it. What just if you look back and go, you know what, that was probably like the happiest I was. Obviously, I know you're happily married. You love the
I love when you ask me questions about this because it's you I'm with, right?
Yeah.
But I know, like, you got to know my backstory to know who and how I got here.
I'm not insecure about it in any way, shape, or form.
No, I love it because we talk about it all the time, you and me.
Yeah. But they don't know.
I know. That's why it's so interesting.
It is interesting.
But I want people to know, like, you and I sit and talk about this all the time.
Yeah. Well, we talk about everything all the time. Yeah. We are really good conversationalists, and we're never at a lack for, like, how's the weather?
Sometimes it gets real deep, way where I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah.
It just depends on the era. No, I liked all my boyfriends. I was not a dater. I always had boyfriends of like 2 years. You're the one who, we broke up 2 years into our relationship, but like after that we surpassed that. So that was kind of the mark for me. But no, I feel like I have love for all of them. They were all just fit in that space and time and era in my life.
They kind of just fit what you were looking for at that point.
Yeah.
Got it. Did you ever have a problem getting a boyfriend?
I had a problem keeping them away. I always got a boyfriend.
Oh, got it.
So I had a problem staying single.
Yeah.
So no.
Do you wish you would have stayed single longer at points in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I mean, I can't wish or regret anything, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yes, because I never really had like time to be like, I'm doing this for me and, you know, all the live on. Well, I lived on my own when I met you, but that wasn't like that long. So, you know, I've gotten to know myself more with you because I've been with you for so long.
We've been through a lot of seasons, but what was it like when you first met me? What was your impression? What made you want to hang out with me? I want you to tell them the truth.
Okay. So when I met you, I had a boyfriend. It was at that 2-year mark. I knew we weren't gonna be together much longer. So I was looking for something the opposite of what I had, and that was someone really crazy and fun and loud, which you definitely are those things. I was in a more just quiet, calm relationship, And so I was like, I'm going to do the opposite, which people do, right? And then I had met you as a friend at where I worked. And
do you care to disclose said location? Come on, dude, it's the best location ever.
I was a server at Hooters.
Fuck yeah, you were, dude. You were the best Hooters lady I ever met.
And you came in as the crazy guy, like teaching people how to do real estate, but yet you told everyone you were a porn star.
I told him I was an adult film star.
Same damn thing.
Well,
and
language matters.
So we got to know each other as friends. I left the guy, and then I moved out on my own, and I was like kind of doing my own thing for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what? I have a good idea. I know who to call for a one night stand.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, I'm single, you know? And so I got your number, which was like the first time I ever did that. And we went on a date. And we had a very good time, and we danced all night and hung out, and then we didn't hang out the next night, and we argued about this on a podcast before. And we hung out the night after that, and then we were like inseparable basically, and then you asked me to be your girlfriend a week later. So that was that. So what I was looking for was just someone real opposite of what I was doing, and you were really exciting.
Like stimulating to your brain?
Yeah. And very different than what I was used to. I typically was dating people like I already knew for a long time, who I was friends with, because I was comfortable with that. And I didn't know you at all. You were totally someone out of the box, someone I didn't know, I had to get to know. So, I mean, obviously it worked out, but...
Did that add to some of the allure and the mystery of like, well, shit, I don't know this person, even though you were so comfortable dating guys that you did know or grew up with? Because I remember you were telling me some of your boyfriends, like, I knew him in first grade.
Yeah.
I knew that guy in third grade. Yeah. Like, it's like, dude, you went through the elementary school roster.
I did.
Not that you actually had a ton of boyfriends. I mean, you probably had like, what, 10 or 12 in your life?
Yeah, that's why I said, dude, 2 years. I just kept doing that. Yeah, you were like, I just was like, who the hell are you? You were really interesting. I remember even like staying in your hotel room with you, you know, when we were dating, and you had these like vitamins and these enzymes, and you have your Kangen water, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, you just were so different, and but you were doing things the way I wanted to go in life, you know? I was like, yes, this is exciting, you know?
Yeah.
Traveling and being healthy and having fun and doing all the things, so.
You've kind of always like, before I met you, you know, I liked nicer things too. You know what I mean? Leather seats, first class, all that type of stuff. And you really tend to like that too, but it wasn't like you liked it because you were like, oh, you like it, I like it. It's just more like that's what you liked. You genuinely, you had a little taste for that early in your life with your uncle being the manager, basically your uncle being the manager of Motorhead, and kind of going on tour with them from time to time. What did that do for you?
Well, that's an exciting, different time to boyfriend thing, and that, so I did that in my early 20s. I toured with Motorhead, Zebrahead toured with Simple Plan, so like I had a lot of fun experiences, you know, drinking backstage, tour buses in Europe, and boy, it was so fun. There's a lot of times I don't remember, and a lot of things that I flashes of.
Well, the questions I'm trying to know is, because whenever you're with my friends and I, or we're having parties at our house, which we do a lot, like you are the DJ. Like if anybody steps in and trying to DJ, you're like, no, dude, just step aside. Let the professional, let Jesse in here. Even when I was back east with Laura and Eric and the gang, it was like, no. Dude, fuck, why isn't Jesse here? Even with Josiah, and they're like, why isn't Jesse here? Like,
that's so cute.
What's that?
That's so cute.
It really is.
Yeah.
But were you like that on tour with those guys? Were you kind of always you're kind of the party ringleader in some ways?
So yeah, like the same thing I would do then I do now. I'm like, shots for everyone, you know, so I still do that. So yes, in some sort of way, but I was more...
Where did you learn that? Like, did you see somebody do that, or were you just like... I know what gets a party going. I know what makes people feel loved and appreciated.
Yeah.
Like, where did you learn this shit?
I guess my mom doing stuff like that, but I've always been like a giver, and if I'm having a good time, I want everyone to have a good time. So,
Yeah.
And then that natural like server motherly instincts in me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have always done that.
Well, and where did that come from? Because you are one of the most motherly. Like you will make me food, and if I don't moan after the first bite or two, you're like, "Is it not good? Like, what's wrong? Like, do you not like it?"
I was born that way. Like a
Just
lot
Lady
of
Gaga, born that way.
I was born that way. Like a lot of girls play with Barbies. I played with babies. I was like, I want the babies. I had a set of twins babies that I would always have on. Like, I literally was born like that. So I didn't like learn that. And you know, I told you about the family parties we would have. And so if someone would have a baby, I would sit with the baby for like an hour before I went out to play.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
It's like so adorable.
I know, thank you.
Okay, you went to. I know so much about you. I'm excited.
It's hard to probably ask questions because you're like, what do I say?
Well,
if we've talked about it a million times.
Yeah, but I'm so excited that our listeners actually, here over a year in, finally get to kind of know what your makeup is and why you are the way you are. And you went to a. This was a while back. This isn't the medium you talked to after your brother passed, but you went to a medium a long time ago, and they said some very interesting things to you.
Oh my God,
that have
this is
actually
I
come
got
true.
chills.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That have actually come true. Talk about that, because that was a cool experience.
So we lived in Las Vegas, and my mom came to visit me, and I was like, let's just like go see a medium. We have both never been. Or a psychic or whatever it was. I have no idea. And then let's go out to the casino, have a drink, whatever. And so we just randomly Googled one, went to one in Las Vegas. It was just like this hole-in-the-wall place. This person knew nothing. Like nothing. Didn't have my name, didn't have nothing. We just went in. I don't know what they told my mom, but they told me, and I just remember these specific things. They said, you're not done being a mom. I had Jovi at this time, so I was like, what? And I think that's Adrian and having her, and because I'm not having another one. So they said, you're not done having a mom, and you're going to help a lot of women, like a massive amount of women in your life. And at the time I did nothing. Jovi was so little. Well, not nothing. I was a mom. But I didn't do anything with you. And so I was like, whoa, that's weird. And she's like, not now, but later in your life. And that tripped me out. And I always remembered that because of what you did. You like help people a lot. And I was like, dang, she didn't even know what my husband does. She doesn't know anything about me, so that like could possibly be true. Well, now fast forward, like I feel like I'm a lot of people, men and women. Yeah, that trips me out.
We get so many comments, compliments, or messages about you, like in my Instagram. I know you get some in yours. And what was it like for you stepping into this and starting to be a part of marriage? Well, first of all, how about when I came up with the idea, or we came up with the idea, and I started moving forward with it? What was some of your thoughts and your initial ideas, and what was going through your head?
So you have like come up with me with ideas a lot, so I'm pretty used to just being like, oh, good for you, or yes, you should, like encouraging you, because I don't want to be the one to be like, you're excited about something. But I was like, you're going to talk about me without me being there. You're going to talk about our relation, personal things. So it was really difficult because I'm kind of a introverted person. And you ask me a question, I'll say it. But like, I'm not going to go out and be like, even on my social media is really hard to do because I don't just say, here's me, here's what I'm doing. It's difficult for me to come out and say things. So when you were like, I'm going to talk about our life, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is really personal. Our breakup, and then our kid together, and all of our feelings and thoughts. And then you would tell me the things that you came up with, and I'm like, that's amazing. Like, of course you should share that. So it's taken me a long time to get where I'm at, and to even start like podcasting with you. Like, I talk about my brother being my story. He's like the reason why I do this with you now. It gave me a good distraction. So like the first year, I feel like I was just like blind, walking around like a robot, just doing the things, because it's really hard for me to talk about all my feelings. Like, I hate it for the most part, but then love it because of all the feedback I'm getting, and that we're genuinely helping people. So obviously doing hard things is hard, and doing hard things will make you better. So I'm going to just continue to do so.
So you were kind of, I don't know if I like the word nervous, but I'll use it just as a placeholder. You were kind of nervous to do the podcast or come on at first, and then obviously
for a while.
And then yeah,
it was a struggle for a while. Has
it almost been 2 years since your brother passed?
Almost, yeah.
Okay, so that seemed to be a big catalyst for you. And I remember the time that happened. We were in Sundance Resort in Utah, and we were kind of wrapping up a mastermind. You and myself, Pete, Cody, Randy, we were all there. And you kind of had this epiphany at that place. What was that?
That was a month before my brother passed. So I was already feeling like I want to get out of my comfort zone. You know, I was already feeling like restless. So, yeah, I remember even like we had round tables, right? And everyone had to stand up and say something. And what did I say? I said, I'm going to try to get out of my comfort zone a little more. I said something like that, which is exactly what I was doing, standing up, speaking. I mean, I was red, sweating, all the things.
Yeah.
And then my brother, Sean, passed just a month later, maybe even a little less. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I can't sit at home. I just can't, just because I was retreating in a lot. I didn't even want to go outside to go on walks because I have to look at people's faces. I mean, it was a really difficult time. And a lot I kind of don't remember because I just was like doing the motions. So I think you asked me or said, do you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, why the fuck not? Like, we all die. Why not do something in this life that we have? So
yeah. Well, I remember the exact words you used at Sundance. You mind if I share them?
Yeah.
You said something to the effect.
Sweating.
I know, right? Are you good?
No, it's emotional. It's hard.
You said this was the declaration you made at Sundance is why I remember it so vividly. And you said, you know what? Dave was dying. Remember our buddy Dave Woodward? And he came, we got to see him and his sons, and we had a very emotional time seeing Dave because Dave's been a good friend of mine for a very long time. And
I knew my brother had health issues, so it was like,
yeah, so you didn't know if he was how long he was going to be or what happened.
I didn't think he was going to die, but
and you said people actually kind of need to hear what I have to say. And the exact words I think you used was something to the effect of, I don't think you said you were selfish, but you said, like, how selfish of me to not, even if forget who cares if I'm scared, these people need help. And I would rather help them. Did you remember this?
I said something like that.
It was something like, who cares if I'm scared? I'm going to step up anyway.
Yeah.
Because I know that it serves people if I speak about what I know about this thing, and who cares if I'm scared? And then after you passed, you said, fuck it. We all die. I'm going in, and that's when you're like, I want to be on that podcast with you.
Well, I remember hearing that a long time ago at a Brennan Burchard event, and he said that he was more introverted, and he's like, I have to put myself aside because I have a message to give, something like that. And that always stood with me. But I guess looking back, I was selfish because I was just thinking of myself, right? And so right before my brother passed, then I was already like thinking about that. And then after that, I'm like, who the fuck cares about how shy I am? What does it matter that I'm just keeping all this in? It doesn't matter. It's not serving anyone or myself. Might as well just share what I have, and if it can help somebody else, anybody else, then it's all worth it.
Yeah, That was the energy, and that's what I really saw when you started stepping in and going, you know what, I've got something to share. And even you would fight with me sometimes, like, no, I want to share this. I want to. This is the thing, and we've developed.
And you have to fight through my emotions too, because, like I said, this is still a lot for me. It's better now, but like sometimes I'm like, I'm not in the mood today, or like I feel inward today. You know, I'm sad today, and so we have to like, okay. We're doing this. Like, there's a bigger picture, and I have to continually tell myself that still. Yeah,
I think there's like this temptation for people to think that for people who are on like a camera, they can't wait to be on camera.
Right.
It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to be on camera. And there's a lot of people that are on camera, and it just looks like they're just trying to be on camera. And then there's people with some actual real shit to say, and that are like, I'm going to have to be on camera because I got to share this. And I feel like you're more the latter. Like you've actually got something real to say. And whether it's comfortable or not comfortable for you on camera, you're like, I got to do this because there's somebody out there. And that has proven to be the truth over this last year. Because,
that's what's kept me going, for sure.
Because there's so many women that reach out and they're like, when is the next episode with Jessie going to be on? You know what I mean? Because I would do some guys or some interviews like, bring Jessie back on. I would almost dare say that there's guys out there that like it when you're on more than any other guest because they want to hear a female's perspective. Well, how does that make you feel?
Amazing. That's the thing that's kept me going, because I wanted to quit a million times because I'm like, what am I actually doing? Am I actually helping someone? Am I benefiting someone's life? And when I get that feedback is why we ask for the feedback too, is then I'm like, well, I can't stop. That would be extremely selfish.
Yeah.
And I like to be a giver, and I just want to give all that I can then if I'm helping anybody.
Yeah. I think that's what makes you like so special. I've met a lot of women. I've banged a lot of women. I've been naked with a lot of women.
Oh, God.
And
I just pictured you.
Well, you know it. And
I don't think of the details, though.
Yeah. And yet, when it boils down to like the people, the women I know and the people I've met, it's just like, you're such a pure soul. Like you're genuinely, even though you like the first class life, you're just not a flashy person. You're not like, hey, look at me, which makes, I think, me and everybody else want to look at you more. Because there's just people that they're just like, hey, and look at me, and it's like, oh, God damn, like, I'm tired of looking at you. You know what I mean? Just stop. But yet you have this idea that go, you know, I'm here to serve. I'm here to show up. I got a story to share.
Yeah.
And it's powerful. I know that a lot of people hear me talk about when you left me, when you're like, hey, I'm done. How do you remember that conversation going? It happened over FaceTime.
Oh, gosh.
And do you remember that conversation very much?
Yeah. My heart was beating out of my chest. You know, like a whole time I didn't know if I was making the right decision until like I left and I was like, I made the right decision when I was like gone. And then when I came back, I was like, am I making the right decision? And it took months to be like, I made the right decision, you know? So just the whole thing was just, I felt like, could I trust my own decision anymore? And that, I think that took me a long time to, and maybe sometimes at times where I'm like, am I making the right decision because I had fucked up so bad, but it was the right decision leaving you, because then you became the man that you are today because of it. And then we do what we do. So obviously it was the right decision, but you know, like I'm hurting my family and what am I doing? But I couldn't stay there. I was miserable. So yeah, it was really difficult. But the call itself, I mean, I had thinking about it for a long time. So I was like, just say it, just say it, just say it. And so it just came out like a robot, you know?
Yeah.
I can't be with you anymore. Like, it was so difficult.
Well, you made a warning to me. You were like, listen, I already know what kind of guy you are. You're going to fly down here and try and see me.
You did.
And try and talk me out of it. And I'm telling you, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm really gone this time. It's like really genuinely over. I don't think people understand how over it really was with us when they hear our story. Because I had a guy call me the other day. He's like, you know, hey, I'm separated and we're just kind of spending some time on her. I go, no, that's not the same story. It was done. It was over.
You literally, we got a U-Haul. You helped me pack. You got some guys and helped me, and I literally packed the U-Haul and drove away. And I remember even right before, like, closing it up, and we're just standing there. It was silent. We're right by the garage. Remember that? Mm-hmm. We're like, okay. That was so difficult. I mean, I cried the whole way. I just wish, you know, obviously that you were the man and have to do that. But now it obviously turned out amazing, even better. Even when we fight, I'm like, why do you push me to this limit? Why do you do that to me? And then it turns out way better a month later. It's amazing afterwards, you know, because we learned something and we're growing. But it's really difficult in the meantime dealing with these things.
Do you personally know of any relationship that you've witnessed, been a part of, or seen that you would trade spots with?
Oh, like right now?
Right now, as we speak.
No.
And yet, you and I go through times where we're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And people are like, marriage isn't hard. You're like, well,
the fuck it is.
Like, I don't know what world you're living in.
And especially if you want to grow and be better, which we do. That's both of our like motivation to do that.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult.
Why do you think it's so hard?
Because we're two headstrong, head-type people. Mm-hmm. And we're like, I want it this way. I want it this way. Fight. Mm.
What's been your best advice to women when they reach out to you, when they're like, my husband's a go-getter, he's really ambitious, he's an entrepreneur, I want to know what you would advise for a woman. It's like, how do I handle being with an entrepreneur who's driven and go-getter? It seems like he just has a hard time turning shit off. Because you could about me.
Oh, 100%. I was thinking that last night because you're just all sick and then, you know, traveling. And I was like, come on back. We need a date night, don't we? Mm-hmm. It just depends on what kind of situation they're in, and everyone's different. But in general, being with an entrepreneur man is extremely hard. And it takes just communication. And like, we're really intentional about our schedule, right? Really intentional, meaning we have our logistics date. Footsies, he's playing footsies. Mm-hmm. We have our logistics meeting, which then we do the planning and talk about scheduling, and that's really important to clear my brain. So it makes me feel loved, and you're taking the time with me. And then our date nights, because we've already done logistics, or talked about, like, sometimes we throw in like, well, that didn't make me feel good about this or that. We do our therapy, which is really, really beneficial, obviously, and that we can work through our issues and childhood issues and then our issues with each other and all the things together, which makes me understand you better and vice versa. And then we have our date nights where we don't talk about anything like that unless we want to, and we have so much fun, which I like to have fun. So being intentional about your schedule, because entrepreneur men are scheduled, right? And they have their data for this and that. Well, then you also need to do that with your wife. I think that's the biggest advice I'd give that for that couple.
That's for the woman. Now for the man.
Oh, well, I'd say, you know, same thing. Make sure you prioritize time for her. Also, a big one.
And another thing.
Yeah, I can go on and on because it just depends on, like, their situation.
On and on.
Well, I would say when you come home, be home. Like, leave your work, because it's easy for an entrepreneur to be like, let me just send this one more text. Let me answer the phone at what time did you answer the phone?
I was 8:21 last night.
Yeah, that's like something that I would be more upset about. But we have Grace, and we're so good. So
I'm like, my buddy's on the East Coast. He's either drunk, high, or has a problem.
Which he was.
We better pick this up. And he was all those
and he
things.
was. And I would want the same grace. Like my mom called him, like, I gotta answer the phone, you know? So, but it's about being intentional when you're home too. Like you're intentional at work, you're intentional at home too. And then we prioritize family time. Then you take Jovi on dates, and then my date. So like, always be intentional about your schedule. I think that's the biggest thing that keeps us thriving.
Yeah. What would you say is, how do you see your process in married game in terms of ideas that we come up with, frameworks that we form, advice we give, things that we do? How do you see yourself in that role?
This is a great question, and what pops up for me
Wow,
is that.
thanks.
Yes, thank you for asking me that. I love our process because what we do is like you'll sit and we'll talk. You'll ask me questions like, well, how did we get to this fight? Or how did you feel about that? So we separate the emotions from it, you and I, after we've already worked through it, right? And we're like, oh my God. Sometimes we'll have a drink and go on a date and we'll like get real deep. And you're like, whoa, I didn't know you thought this. And then you create this entire framework or dial or something just on what my feelings and my thoughts about it.
Is that fun for you to watch
that's
that
the
happen?
funnest thing,
Oh,
because then
okay.
we're diving deep and then you understand me more. So I actually really, really love the process because you're just asking me about my feelings and thoughts about things, and then you create a whole framework on it, which that's what you're like really amazing at.
I'm a languager.
Yeah.
I put languaging around stuff.
Wow.
I can put some language. So last Friday night we went on date night.
Yeah.
And
That's why we were doing this one.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, like, you talk about a lot about you, but then I don't like go off on what I did as a child or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think we should have one where we talk about me, which makes me really nervous and exciting.
Yeah. Well, I can promise you already up to this point, and I don't know how long we're into this thing, but this isn't the Keith show. I haven't really thought of it as the Keith show because I deal with the guys every day. And I tell them what's happening and I give them advice on what's going on. But more than not, I go, this is what Jesse and I went through. And this is what we discovered. The most recent thing where I really, really fucked up the partner dial and forgot to make you feel like the best friend that you really are. Had you not stepped up and said, what's up, motherfucker? Like, this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen it. And I'm really heavy on praise for you within our group and what we're doing because the guys know. And they joke about you a lot. You know what I mean?
What?
Like they say shit like, okay, would Jessie say the same thing? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does Jessie think about that? And I'm like, yeah, she would. She would actually say this, but this is how I interpret that. But when we had our date night last Friday night, we went out to that new place, got some sushi, then we went to that little speakeasy, and then we got our dance on. What a combo. Like, God, I could do that again tonight. You know what I mean?
Why won't we?
Yeah, I know. Right? And so, but I got to see you in a different light. And it was all because of something you said that really, like, it hit me really hard. And, which has led to this. I don't have to get into that point.
What would I say, though?
Well, you said something like, you know, I'll ask you a question on the podcast, but you don't necessarily ask them back to me. And I was like, oh, let me write that down. That's really good because I actually want to ask you more questions on the podcast, which then lead to, hey, we're going to interview Jessie and find out all about Jessie Joy. Remind us how you got your name, Jessie Joy.
You?
You love it though, don't you?
Julia Joy, Joey Joy, Jessie Joy. Yeah, I do love it.
Yeah, it's
so
a
cute.
good name. But I got to really understand who you are and why you understand game so much, why you understand relationships so well, why you understand these things. And it was almost as if I was like, well, shit, dude, you've got like a star sharing this microphone with you, and you're not letting her talk as much as maybe everybody probably wants her to, because you know so much more than people understand. And I think we just kind of realized just this last month or two how similar we really are in terms of we love game, we love flirting, we love dancing, we love doing we love human interaction.
Yeah.
Have you always been that way?
Yes. I think of a couple little scenarios, but I remember having like summer party in like junior high with all the girls, and I'm the one with the brush singing the loud Christina Aguilera part, you know, and everyone's like, you know, we're all.
You loved it.
I was always more like that.
So you had the brush singing to your friends. When I learned the guitar when I was 13, 14 years old, I'd have my friends over. I had like 6 or 8 of them, and I'd be pulling out my guitar and playing for them. So we're both really similar like that. Yeah, I love that. How do you want to be remembered when you die?
Wow. I don't know.
And on their next episode, Jessie has thought about how she.
I know.
No, but it's like, have you thought like
I never really thought about death until my brother, you know. So I just didn't think, like, I knew it, but I didn't know it because I never experienced it. But I guess how people think of me now, like my close people, you know, they say, like, I'm loyal, I'm fun. I always keep my word. So things that I'm still trying to do now, I guess that's how I want to be remembered. I don't know.
That was probably the thing that stuck out the most to me when I invited you to come out. You were single. You said, hey, I'm single.
Our first date.
We should hang out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm speaking at this seminar. Come on down. It was like 45 minutes away. It was hailing. It was on 11/11.
Yep. That's why I wore this. See?
You have an 11/11 ring.
Yep.
I have an 11/11 tattoo.
Yep.
We probably have 17 million 11/11 texts to each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was so impressed that you said you were going to show up, and you really did show up. I know you were looking for one thing, but you're that type of person that will go after what they want and get it. Mm-hmm. And I have always admired that about you. I think that's cool as shit.
Thank you.
I also, my favorite thing about being with you and being your life partner and going like, hey, we're doing this till the day we die, is I don't sense that every husband and wife are like really best friends. Mm-hmm. But I sense that with you. Mm-hmm. And it's what it's what I love most about you. When it's all said and done, I think why the partner dials becomes so, it's almost like the companion dial. Mm-hmm. If we were just like, we're gonna get really wrinkly and old one day. Maybe not you. Somehow you keep age reversing or aging.
Thank you, Gary Brecka.
Thank you, Gary Brecka. But that seemed to be the thing that always stuck out to me, is like you insisted on that and mm-hmm. wouldn't settle for anything less. And if it didn't have it, you're like, what the fuck are we doing? Mm-hmm. Where did that come from? Was that because of your parents?
It's because of my parents. Like, I always wanted that from my. There's things that I learned that I didn't want from my parents, mm-hmm. and there's things that I knew that I wanted, and they were always best friends. And like, you know how like women say, when my husband dies, I'm just gonna move in with my best friend. Like, that's how I always felt. Always, like, I wanted someone I could just always be best friends with. Mm-hmm. Then what the fuck am I doing? Like, that's that's like, I think if I were to measure all the dials, like, that is my number one. For sure. It's a partner dial.
I think it's most women's, like that connection, that true, like genuine, this guy's got my back. Yeah. And
because then you can give grace on other things, like we're gonna age, like, you know, sometimes we're stinky, sometimes, you know, like just normal human things where it's like, well, you're my best friend, so I don't care about all those things, you know, that just kind of falls in line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of women want that. How do you think they should share that with their husband if they feel like they're lacking that? Like, what's a go-to, like,
what did I say
way
to you,
for them
even
to say
like,
that?
You know, like, say, I want you to be my best friend. I want you to be my person. I want you to be the person I can share anything with no judgment. I just want to share whatever pops in my head and say it to you, and then we talk about it or whatever. I just want to feel like I can just lean on you, talk to you.
We talk about everything. Mm-hmm. Sexual fantasies, lives, goals, dreams, desires, things we like,
our
things
past,
we don't like, our
boyfriends,
past,
girlfriends, our thoughts, where you thought you liked women in the 80s looked.
All the things.
Kathy Ireland.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Let's go, Kathy Ireland.
All the things, everything.
And that has so much appeal to people looking in. Like, how can you be like best friends and love fucking and like doing all the things that you guys do? What do you think has caused you to feel like you can share everything and anything with me?
Well, obviously it's talking about all of our past and history, because that just you get to know someone, how they got there and why they think the way they think. But it's also sharing your thoughts and true heart about things with no judgment. And that's a big one, where it's like, why the fuck do you think that? Or that you're wrong. Like, none of that, right? Mm-hmm. It's just sharing everything with you.
Is there a story that you haven't shared online or with anybody that you're like, would kind of blow us away, that might shock us about you?
Well, you asked me a lot of questions here today. I think the touring with bands would be pretty cool.
Have you ever played in a rock band?
Well, I created my own for like a month or two.
Tell us about this.
It was called
rock.
Jessie and the Pussycats.
Okay.
All my high school friends are going to know about this because it's something we still send each other pictures about.
Okay.
I miss those girls. They're so great. Yeah, and we played at my 8th grade.
Did it go well?
It went amazing. We did the song.
Did you feel like a rock star?
I really did. And I even like made my own outfit, and I had the red leather pants. And then my dad played a song after or before, and he had his cool Goo Goo Dolls haircut with the highlights around that time.
Oh my God.
It was so fun. That's a fun story. So I guess I've always like dabbled in the, camera modeling thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you've always rocked the karaoke mic unlike anybody else. So, one last question. Unless you have something else you want to say.
No.
I'm looking at the time here, and we're deep into this, and I love it. What would you tell a woman? Dude, I actually feel like we could do a whole nother episode kind of on what I'm about ready to say.
Ooh, fun.
But let's just close it with this one. What would you tell a woman that is struggling with how her man's showing up, but wants to let him know that, hey man, this is serious. I'm not happy. I don't feel loved. I don't feel cared for, or like you actually give a shit about me. I feel like I'm a walking vagina. Like, how do you feel like a woman should show up in that way?
Well, I'm gonna sponsor our married game here, but obviously it'd say, you better join married game or I'm gonna leave you.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
Get a coach or I'm leaving
hard
you.
line, yeah.
Well, it's like we had to get a therapist, right, to work out our things. Mm-hmm. And so that's our coaching, and then it's having the hard conversations, it's communicating, it's saying the honest truth, so that, because sometimes when you're fighting and you just barely say something, you're gonna have to say it later, or again, you're just prolonging what you're gonna have to say. Just say it.
So just kind of sack up and say it.
And be like, look, I'm gonna leave you if things don't change. I will leave you. If that's something I didn't like fully say to you, I kind of just was like, I can't do like this anymore. Something needs to change. So it's like being that forward, that honest.
Yeah.
And saying, we need help. Like, get a coach, get something. Because no two people can work out something when you think one way and I think one way, and there's no.
It's like an impasse.
Yeah. So you need someone else to kind of help you see and say it in a different way than just barking at something,
Yeah.
So.
What's your favorite thing about being a wife?
I love to support. Like I said, I love to give. So that feels good to me. So I feel like if I'm supporting you, I really, really like that. That stems from my childhood too. You just love you love supporting. I do. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. I feel like I do even do it with Jovi. Like, I'm like, what do you need? Do you need help? Like it just feels good. It feels good to help, to be wanted, to be needed. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Did I miss anything today? I don't know. This has been fun. I'm glad that the people get to know who you are better. Well, let me say one more thing on that, is that given my past and my childhood, and my parents are such open thinkers and never put me down for the way I was thinking, or they just, well, why do you think that? They were always kind of like that and still are. And I think that's why I'm so good at what I do with you. And I'm so thankful that we fell into this. And now it's like a calling. Now it's a thing. Is the life that I've had kind of set me up for this with you. And I'm really thankful for that, and my past to lead me to this with you. So I think you have been really good at holding space for me, for coming up for wild ideas and not just shooting them down, but like, I'm a thinker and a questioner. I think you are as well. Mm-hmm. And having that as a best friend, you're my female best friend, but you're like my best friend of all best friends. Mm-hmm. But having other close friends like Garrett and other people as that are around me to go, it's an interesting thought, and rather than judge me, they just go, well, what's the fruit of that? What's the end result of that? And a lot of the ideas we've come up have
truly proven to give us really amazing fruit in our life. And I think you're a big reason for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, listen, if you're wanting to get and stay well fucked, go to marriedgame.com. The bottom line is, if you're a married man and you don't have game, you don't know how to get your wife or give your wife the gift of being horny.
Wow.
What a gift, dude. You know how I've been sick, so I don't really have a lot of hunger.
Yeah.
Or really that thirsty. It's like, oh, I want to be hungry and thirsty again, man. Like, you know, it's the same. It's like, if you're not horny, you're like, I just want to be horny. I want that. I want to feel that.
That like excitement and lust to eat, to feed.
To feed me. But it's most women aren't feeling that in their relationship because their man's really dropping the ball.
How boring.
Right? And not how it was designed. I didn't know that after 12 years of being with somebody, the sex would be better. I didn't know that. Like, there's not one person I ever heard say that was possible.
I think we should explain why on another podcast. That'd be so fun.
Give us the cliff notes now, and then we'll go deeper on that.
Because we're so connected and deep in our brains. Then we're like, for a woman, I'm going to speak for me, that I'm just so comfortable now. It's like, well, let's try that, I guess, you know, instead of like, no, don't look at me, don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
Well, what I notice is that as you develop yourself, and you develop yourself way different than I do. I love reading, masterminds, group with guys. You have a kind of a different approach of how you've gone about it.
I'm a little more introverted about it.
Yeah, and both have proven to be effective in how we show up for our roles. I think I had to kind of recognize and realize that if I'm built for a different role, why would I expect you to go through the same training regimen if you're built for something different than I am? And I used to kind of judge you for that, which was really stupid of me. And I think a lot you judge their wives. It was just so, like, what a clod. You know what I mean? Like, what a fucking clod.
Clod, huh?
Yeah, you know what that means?
Well, yeah, now, but
yeah,
who says that anymore?
Well, my dad taught me that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Grandpa George.
Grandpa George and old man sayings. Well, there you have it. Listen, that's my beloved. That's the way we think about things. That's where she came from, and that's why she thinks the way she thinks. And the bottom line is, I believe that every woman wants to unleash her inner slut.
It's true.
It's true.
It's so true.
But they need a man to unlock the code so they can feel free to do this. And that is your job. And so if you're sitting here listening to this, or you're looking into this camera and you're like, man, how do I get my wife to be like Jessie? And I hear that a lot. You know, man, if I married a Jessie, I'd be like, no, you couldn't even handle a Jessie. You wouldn't even know what to do with a Jessie. And the truth of the matter is, I built Jessie, and she built me. We built each other and into who we are by showing up the way we do for each other. And the bottom line is, a lot of you can't do that. That's why we created Married Game, was to teach men how to have game. And having game just means how to get your wife to really want you, to be around you, to be excited to see you, to want to get naked with you, but ultimately how to feel connected, like this is your best friend, and no matter what you go through, you got somebody there who's got your back. So that's what we teach at marriedgame.com. Head to marriedgame.com. And as always, remember, keep crushing it. That shit is contagious.